So our next speaker is Akhil Langer, who is a senior PhD candidate here at the Parallel Programming Laboratory. And he's going to be discussing one of our more unique collaborations, studying branch and bound theory in operational research.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to talk about our work on parallelization of stochastic integer programs. So first of all, just to give an idea of the kind of problems that we are dealing with, let us look at the logistics that US Transcom has to deal with on any single day. It has to schedule around 100 railcar shipments. There are about 35 ships that are loading, offloading, or underway. There are around 1,000 truck shipments, 480 airlift sorties, and about 70 air refueling operations going on. Just the air mobility command of US Transcom has to schedule around, has the responsibility of allocating around 1,300 aircrafts for different missions at different locations. So these missions are like cargo shipment or personnel movement, and to serve during contingencies such as war situations and natural disasters. The demands of these missions are subject to enormous uncertainty even during peace times. And not just the uncertainties, but even after doing the planning, these aircrafts are subject to disruptions such as breakdowns and weather-related events and so on. So the task is to allocate these aircrafts cost optimally in the presence of all these uncertainties. So to deal with this problem, we use what is called a stochastic optimization, or optimization under uncertainty. It assumes that all these uncertain outcomes, there is a knowledge of their probabilistic distribution. And an instantiation of this distribution is called as a scenario. So we formulate the problem as a two-stage problem. In the stage one, all the decisions corresponding to the known parameters are made. These decisions are then evaluated against all the scenarios in stage two. So this is the stage two problem. Both of these are linear programs, and after making the stage one decision, we evaluate it across all the scenarios in the stage two problem. So the stage two problem then gives back the cost of the stage one decision to the back to the stage one, and it also sends some cuts to the stage one. These cuts are basically kind of feedback to the stage one, which the stage one uses to come up with newer decisions. These cuts are basically constraints that get added to the stage one polytope, and they constrain the stage one polytope to guide the search for newer stage one decisions. So this is an iterative process which alternates between stage one and stage two, and it goes on until the optimal solution is found, which is determined by a convergence criteria. So in case the decisions that we are making are require integral decisions, for example, aircrafts have to be allocated in integral units, thus linear program becomes an integer linear program. So there are many interesting applications where stochastic optimization is used. Some of these areas are agriculture, telecommunication, production planning, transportation, supply chain management, energy grids, and so on. And there has been some amount of work in this area. One of the simplest way of solving these stochastic programs is to formulate them as a single large linear program in which all the scenarios and the stage one are put together in a single linear program. But this tends to become, these tend to become very large in size, and therefore even the toy instances of these problems are very difficult to solve. Secondly, since sometimes integer decisions are involved, parallelizing integer programs has been difficult, and commercial IP solvers, they have very poor parallel efficiency. There is a stochastic program solver called PySP from Sandia National Lab, and it implements a Rockefeller wedge progressive hedging algorithm. This is basically a heuristic algorithm, and we are more interested in finding an optimal solution. And also it depends on using these commercial solvers for doing the integer program optimization, which makes it very parallelly inefficient. And recently there has been some work from Argonne as well, where they are using some dual decomposition algorithm for solving these problems, but they have reported to have very poor load balancing, and they have shown scaling only up to 32 cores. So given this context, the motivation of this work was to be able to solve large-scale stochastic optimization problems which are intractable on single or multi-core machines. because there are no distributed efficient solvers available. So the approach that we are taking is to combine high-performance computing with stochastic programming, with the hope that stochastic high-performance computing will help us in two ways. One is to be able to solve these scenarios, evaluate these scenarios in parallel, and secondly, to make it feasible to solve integer programs, which are NP-hard problems. So the approach we are taking is to identify decomposable structures in the stochastic programs and identify the interdependencies amongst them, then propose parallel designs for high parallel efficiencies. So we are using Charm++ for this purpose because it improves the programmer productivity, and we'll see how, and also helps in our synchronous collection of measurement metrics, which helps in performance. So to give all of you a more detailed idea about what are the benefits of doing a stochastic optimization versus deterministic optimization. So as of now, the military, the way it allocates aircrafts is manually, but even while doing manually, what it does is, what the people do is they look at a nominal scenario, nominal future outcome, and based on that nominal scenario, they do the aircraft allocation. And in stochastic programming, so what we do is in the stage one, we allocate the aircrafts to the different missions and to different locations of the military. And then we evaluate these aircraft decisions in stage two. So basically in stage two, these aircrafts are assigned routes that they are going to fly, and also which specific demands of that mission that they are going to carry. So for example, we can see these are multiple scenarios, and different scenarios have different mission requirements. So the stochastic optimization problem tries to optimize the allocation decision over all these scenarios. So this blue curve, blue line shows the performance of the cost with a deterministic solution. So we obtained a deterministic solution and applied it to various scenarios. Sorry, the red line shows the cost for a deterministic solution. We can see that in some of the cases when the costs are much more elevated than the nominal scenarios, the deterministic solution has very high cost. And the blue line shows the cost with a stochastic solution. So the stochastic solution has been solved by hedging against all these 6 scenarios. And we can see that there is on an average 10% cost benefit. The maximum benefits in scenario 2 are as much as 57%. Overall, the quality of stochastic solution is very high, as it reduces the variation in the cost across multiple scenarios by as much as 66%. And only in some scenarios where the scenario matched very closely to the nominal scenario, stochastic solution has a cost 5% higher than the deterministic solution. But on an average, it performs much better. So this tells the motivation of using stochastic optimization. So to give you an idea of the size of the problems that we are looking at, there are about 135 for scheduling for 5 days with 120 scenarios. We'll have 135 stage 1 variables, 1.6 million stage 2 variables, and 1 million constraints in stage 2. So the design, the two-stage design maps very easily into a parallel design. We have a stage 1 solver, which comes up with the stage 1 decision, and then it is assigned to the stage 2 solvers whenever they request work. This assignment is done by a manager process to which the stage 2 solvers request for work, and it assigns the scenarios that are yet to be evaluated. We keep this on a dedicated processor in order to maintain responsiveness for work requests from the stage 2 solvers. Because these solves are very coarse-grained, and if we put it on the same process as put the manager on the same process as one of the solvers, the requests may not get satisfied immediately. So this is a very basic design, and this is how the timeline looks like. Each horizontal line corresponds to a process here. So first, the stage 1 solver does its work, and then it is evaluated in stage 2 across for all the scenarios. Then it again goes back to stage 1, and like this. So clearly this doesn't have a very good parallel efficiency. In fact, the scalability is limited by number of scenarios, because only during the stage 2 time we get parallelism for the scenarios, and then all the processes sitting idle when stage 1 optimization is going on. And especially when the stage 1 is a linear program, the green bar becomes even bigger, making it even more parallelly inefficient. So we can see that we had 120 scenarios, so we were able to scale it up to 122 processes here, 121 processes. So in order to solve this problem, when the stage 1 becomes an integer program, clearly the previous design will not work. So the way we solve is to relax the integer program to be the integer program to become a linear program. And then this becomes a stochastic linear optimization problem, which gives us a fractional solution. And then we start branching on the fractional variables. This gives us a branch and bound tree. And as we reach to integer solutions, these integer solutions, they act as incumbent solutions. And then these incumbent solutions are used to prune other parts of the trees, which can provably be shown to not have better solutions than the current incumbent solution. This is a typical branch and bound approach that is used to solve integer programs. However, there is one very big difference between how traditional applications use branch and bound than how we are using. Each vertex here is a stochastic linear optimization problem. Unlike traditional usages in which each vertex is merely an atomic unit of work, we have a stochastic linear optimization problem, which in itself is parallelizable, because there are multiple iterations that go through in stage 1, stage 2, and these multiple scenarios can be parallelly evaluated. So we have nested parallelism available. One is that we are doing parallel evaluation of the vertices of the scenarios within vertex, and we are also evaluating multiple vertices in parallel. So there are several design challenges that are very different from the typical from the challenges that are faced in the typical scientific iterative applications. First of all, the grain size, which is a linear program optimization, is very coarse, because linear program optimization can take anywhere from few milliseconds to tens of seconds. Secondly, how long a linear program optimization will take is not predictable, because basically what it involves is we start from one vertex of the polytope and we have to reach to the optimal solutions. How far the optimal solution can vary from problem to problem. Secondly, these solver libraries, they maintain internal state, which is very useful feature of these libraries. So what they do is they maintain an internal state, and these internal states help them to accelerate successive optimization problems. Generally, in the problems that we are dealing with, the different linear programs that we have to optimize, they do not differ from each other a whole lot. They only differ from each other by a few variables or few constraints. So if we start from the solution of the previous problem, we reach to the solution much quicker. So this is also called as advanced start or warm start. The disadvantage of this is that this internal state takes a lot of memory, and therefore the number of vertices that we can explore in parallel becomes limited. Finally, branch and bound trees, they tend to be very misbehaved, because different parts of the trees have different amount of work. For example, they can be fathomed at any time. They can be fathomed, or also the number of decisions that it takes to reach to an integer solution varies in different parts of the trees. And finally, better utilization of processes in this case does not mean that we'll get better performance, because we can always keep the processes busy by exploring lesser important parts of the trees, and in that way we can actually worsen the performance. So to implement this design, we use Charm++ programming model, because this branch and bound kind of parallelism fits very well into the Charm++ programming model. Especially prioritized execution helps in prioritized exploration of the tree vertices. So given that the objects are take a lot of memory, and therefore their migration can be expensive, we dedicate these objects to processes instead of giving an option of migrating them. And secondly, since the grain sizes are highly unpredictable, we are using a pull-based work stealing mechanism, pull-based work assignment mechanism. And this is how the design looks like. We dedicate a set of processes for doing the stage 1 optimization, then another set of processes for doing stage 2 optimization, and on one of the processes, the stage 1 manager and the stage 2 manager residing. Stage 1 manager basically has the work with it, and whenever a stage 1 solver needs a work, it requests vertices from the stage 1 solver. Stage 1 solver picks the highest priority vertex that it has in its work pool and assigns it back. Stage 1 decision when comes up, stage 1 solver, when it comes up with a decision, it sends it to the stage 2 manager, which is responsible for allocating work to the stage 2 solvers. And now this is how the timeline looks like. Since we are evaluating multiple stochastic linear programs in parallel, after solving stage 1 of those vertices, the processor just switches to another vertex instead of waiting for the stage 2s of that vertex to come on. So in this way, we interleave the execution of multiple vertices. So this is how a typical implementation of branch and bound would be, that we assign a set of stage 1 and stage 2 solver instances for every vertex, and then we distribute these instances across all the processes. And this is how the performance looks. We have time to solution on y-axis and number of processes on x-axis. Well, we can see that for every configuration we have multiple markers here, and this is just to demonstrate that unlike other applications, branch and bound has variation across identical trials. And this variation is very typical in branch and bound because this generally happens because of presence of operating system noise and network interference. The different incumbent solutions can be found in different orders, which leads to a different rate of pruning across different runs, and therefore the performance varies significantly. One of the disadvantages of this approach was that each vertex has a huge amount of memory requirement because it requires so many solver instances whose internal states have to be saved. So what we saw was in the class of problems that we are looking at, different vertices, they are finding solutions in different parts of the trees. So the decisions are very different, but the stage 2 polytope does not change across vertices. So what happens is the feedback that comes from the stage 2 is not applicable only to that vertex. It can be used across different vertices. So what we did was that instead of every vertex having its own dedicated set of solver instances, we make these vertices share the solver instances. So each processor has a solver now instead of each vertex having its own instance. So, and all that these solvers do is, while switching to another vertex, they just change the branching decisions that led to that vertex, and they can evaluate that vertex. The states can be shared across vertices. And this is how the performance for this optimized design looks. There are two observations to be made here, that first of all, the times to solution, they have reduced significantly from this. And the second observation is that there is a lot of variation in the performance, much more than what we saw here. So first of all, we'll see why the times to solution have reduced significantly by orders of magnitude in this. There are two reasons for that. First of all, since we are sharing these vertices, sharing the solver across vertices, we are able to use advanced start, warm start, which reduces the stage 1 optimization time significantly. So we can see that this red mark corresponds to the second optimized design, and the stage 1 time is significantly reduced for different data sets. Secondly, because we are sharing these solver instances, every vertex has the latest pool of active feedback that is coming from the stage 2 across all the vertices in the tree, which helps it to reduce the number of iterations that is required to solve a particular vertex. So this is an histogram which shows that how many rounds, what number of rounds took, the fraction of the vertices that took a certain number of stage 1, stage 2 iterations to optimize itself. And we can see that in the new design, very few rounds are required. And secondly, why is there so much variation across identical runs? The reason for that is that these linear programs are degenerate. And since we are using advanced start, it depends on what was the previous optimization problem. The solution of the current problem will depend on the previous optimization that solver did. And the sequence in which a solver does a linear program optimization can vary across runs. because of the operating system noise and system interference. So the sequence varies, therefore the solution of the linear program will vary, and therefore the branching decisions will change, and therefore we will get entirely different branch and bound trees. And we can see that two trees, they differ from each other so significantly that gives us so much variation in performance. Now the question there is, how bad is this performance, or is performance variation bad? Definitely it is bad, because it becomes difficult to guarantee that as we increase the number of processes, will we get a better performance. But since the performance, the overall absolute performance is so much better in this new design, we chose the second design as the design of choice. But now the question is, how do we measure the performance despite the presence of so much variation? In order to do that, we did 20 trials of at every configuration, and then we measured the fraction of trials that gave a certain minimum parallel efficiency. So we can see that, for example, in this case, 40% of the trials are giving efficiency that is more than 60%. So we still obtain very good parallel efficiencies, and this shows the scalability for several different data sets. And in one of these cases, we obtain as much as 96x speed up while scaling from 3 cores to 480 cores. The parallel efficiency was greater than 40% at 120 cores in 100% of the cases. To compare the performance, we compare it with the Gurobi integer linear program solver, which is state-of-the-art commercial solver available. And the parallel efficiency of Gurobi is merely 0.1 at 32 cores. This paper was presented at HiPC last year and also got the Best Paper Award. Finally, the takeaways from this presentation are that so HPC can enable large-scale stochastic program optimization in a timely manner, and novel ideas such as state sharing across tree vertices can reduce memory overheads and also further reduce the time to solution. And finally, parallel programming models like Charm++, they can help in improving productivity and performance. Thank you. So if you have any questions.
Thank our speaker. All right, thank you.